Welcome back, ladies. Natalie Newhart here, founder of Fit Addicted Nutrition. And today what we're going to be talking about is really an advanced approach to female, fat loss. Okay, we're going to really talk about how can we target lower body fat and belly fat. Women have a very unique opportunity to target, to really leverage their hormones to target lower body fat, to target female belly fat, and also times where they could actually build muscle without storing fat, okay? And that's for women who really who have a menstrual cycle. And for those of you guys that don't have a menstrual cycle, you may not get the benefits from the hormones, because you're either on birth control or you're menopausal, but you should still be cycling your diet in some form or another, your diet and your exercise, just so that the body doesn't plateau, because at some point, just like when we work out, we do the same workout day in and day out, the body just stops listening if you do the same workout every single day. Same thing with the metabolism. If you eat the same way and you train the same way day in and day out, eventually the body just stops listening and it doesn't respond. Like it just doesn't, there's no reason for it to burn fat or build muscle. Like there's no change upon it. And so we really want to stay in one step ahead of the metabolism. We want to jiggle it back and forth, so to speak, so that it's constantly responding to change and it never just sort of dies out and plateaus. So in order to do this, we got to review the menstrual cycle first, okay? So what you're looking at here is the menstrual cycle. And basically what we have here is two different lines. We have a red line and a blue line. And the red line stands for estrogen, okay? So that's going to be one of our hormones. The blue line stands for progesterone. Okay, we've got these two hormones basically cycling all throughout the month, and there's times where estrogen is more dominant, and there's times where progesterone is more dominant. Okay, and so basically, I'm going to go over that real quick. These first 2 weeks. So here's the whole 28-day cycle. That's kind of an average length of a cycle, and I've got it basically broken down into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. Okay. And so the reason why I have that is because there's really kind of 4 different times where you can kind of see, okay, during this first section, estrogen is, the estrogen and progesterone are both low, but they're, estrogen is rising, okay? And then the second phase, estrogen is quite high right here, okay? And progesterone is low. And then third phase, progesterone is actually is higher than estrogen, so it's more dominant here. And then in the fourth phase, both hormones are again very low, okay? Now, why does this matter? This matters because the level of estrogen and progesterone is going to impact whether you're storing fat or burning fat and where you're burning that fat from, okay? So when estrogen is low, there's we have these alpha receptors on our body where it's just like the areas where we hold fat more, right? Like it's our stubborn body fat areas. There's stubborn areas in the for women, it's hip, butt, thighs, and kind of belly area where alpha receptor activity, there's a lot of alpha receptors, meaning that when estrogen is high, it's kind of got the lockdown. Like there's like a lockdown on the stubborn body fat areas, okay? And so we want to leverage when estrogen is not high. So when estrogen is low, that's a prime time for, you can kind of think of like the floodgates sort of open where you can go in and release a bunch of body fat from the stubborn fat areas. But when estrogen is high, it's like thinking the floodgates are closed and it's a lot, the fat release from those stubborn body fat areas is a lot slower, okay? And so what I'm saying here is that, okay, well, in the first phase, estrogen is pretty low, and in the last phase, the last 7 days and the first 7 days, estrogen is in the lower amount than the middle 2 weeks. Okay, and so that's a prime time for us to actually go in and burn that stubborn body fat. Okay, and so the way that that we can leverage this is we can use basically this first phase to target lower body fat. During those first 7 days, because alpha receptor activity is going to be a lot lower, and because estrogen is a lot lower, okay? And so this is going to be a day where this is going to be a week, a phase where we eat less and exercise more, what I call ELEM, okay? And so basically we're going to keep carbs low, work out a little bit harder, get a lot of fat release from those areas, and just kind of really burn lower body fat during that time. The second phase is where estrogen is more dominant like significantly more dominant than progesterone. So what that means is that alpha receptor activity is going to be a lot higher, meaning we got the lockdown kind of on those stubborn body fat areas. However, estrogen is also is a hormone builder, or a growth hormone similar to testosterone. So this right here, this second phase, day 7 to day 14, is a prime time for you to go in and build muscle and actually store less of that, less of the food that you eat as fat. Estrogen is very powerful. It works just like testosterone. So it's a prime opportunity. Like when she's high, then that's a time that we want to leverage to eat more food. We're going to store less of it as fat, and we can use more of that food to build muscle, and it's going to happen a lot quicker. Okay. So that's going to be a period. Phase 2 is going to be an eat more, exercise more period, what I consider, your building phase. All right. Then you have phase 3. So phase 3 after ovulation. So once the egg is released, okay, around that day 14 time, things start to change, because now progesterone is kind of like, the dominating girl, right? She's the dominating sister right now. And so when she's around, she's going to be a lot more sensitive to carbohydrates and starchy, sugary foods. And she's also going to be a little bit more stress sensitive. So we're going to want to start to tone down the carbohydrates and the amount of training that you're doing. And so phase 3 is really what I consider kind of an eat some, exercise some phase, meaning we're going to trim down, kind of tone down. You're going to lean out a bit, and that's it. Okay. So you're just going to kind of take it down a level. And then phase 4 is day 21 through day 28. Again, because estrogen is low, this is a prime time where alpha receptor activity is a lot lower as well. Okay, and so these alpha receptors are going to be deactivated, meaning it's going to be more, you're going to be more easily able to burn fat. Okay, and so, but the only caveat here is that because both hormones are very low at this time, you're going to be very stress sensitive, and you're going to be very sensitive to carbohydrates. You're going to be more easily to store fat. So this is going to be the best time for you to burn belly fat. Remember, belly fat is we should not be taking an exercise-centered approach towards belly fat. We want to take a stress-centered approach. And so if we eat less and exercise less, that is going to be the best approach to burning belly fat, okay? Because insulin will be low, both from stress and from carbohydrates. And when you do that, you're going to lower, your desire for food. So if you're not working out a bunch, it's going to be a lot easier to create that deficit with food, because you don't have the activity, the exercise that tends to increase your appetite. Okay, so that's basically it. You've got your 4 phases. Again, phase 1 is lower body fat. Phase 2, that's your time to build muscle. That's eat more, exercise more. Phase 1 was eat less, exercise more. Phase 3 is tone and trim. So that's your eat some, exercise some phase. And then phase 4 is your burn your belly fat phase. That's going to be your eat less, exercise less. Okay. And so this is, again, like I said, this is more of an advanced approach. So if you're wanting to actually really kind of accelerate both, toning up the body, building muscle, and leaning out at the same time, this is what I use. Like when my clients are like, I want to get after it, this is what we do. You don't have to do it like this. You can break it up into 2 phases like I've shown you in other videos. And you also don't even have to use your cycle at all. However, I will say that my clients have gotten unbelievable results when they tailor their diet and exercise in this way, okay? And so the cool thing is that I have actually created an online course that teaches you how to do this on your own, okay? So if you're interested in learning the steps on how to use this exact same process, how to eat, how to train, with your menstrual cycle to get much more effective results and leverage your hormones, just go to Fit Addicted Nutrition and check out fitaddictednutrition.com and check out my female hormone diet course, which will teach you, basically it'll lead you through a 4-week cycle of how to eat and train with your menstrual cycle. Okay. And then if you're like, man, you know what? I'm not into those online courses. I never can hold it together. I just always fall off. Well, then definitely just reach out to me, and we can see if you'd be a good fit for my one-on-one FitChic Academy, which is definitely a more, way more high-touch program. You and I work intimately together to, you know, to look and feel fit without obsessing over diet and exercise. So I really teach you how to leverage your hormones, how to eat and train with your female hormones, but also how to not be obsessive about it, how to break free from all the diet plans, and really create a more intuitive approach when it comes to eating and training, and less so much of a rigid approach. So if that's something that you're interested in, that's going to be something you're going to want to reach out to me directly by just going to talk2nat.com. So that's www.talk2nat.com. And you can just apply to work with me through the application process. I'll see if we're a good fit. And if so, I'll be reaching out to you and we can go over what that would look like. So hopefully you guys have learned something super cool. This is definitely something you want to leverage. It's a very unique opportunity for us. And you know, it's something that the guys, they don't have this opportunity. So, you know, if you really think about it, that your menstrual cycle is an advantage, not a disadvantage when you use it accordingly. But it absolutely can feel like the most nuisance, you know, annoying thing if you're not working with your hormones, okay? So check it out. Feel free to reach out to me. Much love to you all. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.